Isa na namang bagong episode ng Kwentuhan with Missionaries. So alam ko excited na kayong ma-meet ang ating guest for tonight. Pero bago ko siya ipakilala, meron siyang hinandang song para sa atin.
So this song is entitled You're All I Have.
So let us all welcome Sister Grace. Sister Grace, no? Bakit po yun yung napili niyong song for tonight?
Yes. When you were asking me, no, what is the song, no, that I would like, no, to share tonight, the first song that I thought was this one, no. Actually, ito yung song na simula pa nung high school ako, I was singing with my choir. No? So, I felt na, you know, as I journey in my missionary life, no, ito yung aking buhay. No? Ito rin yung reason why I became a missionary. Kasi I really discovered that God is all I have. No, it's very funny kasi nung I entered the community, I realized that this song is, kumbaga, based in Psalm 16. Of course, nung time na bata pa ako, no, I wasn't so well-versed sa Bible. No? Pero nung nag-aaral na ako mag-pray, and I read Psalm 16, I said, wow, this is my song. No? So, and then from then on, no, that became my favorite psalm as well, Psalm 16. Because I realized no, how God is really the one who fulfilled me. Nasabi nga ng kanta, no, you're worse than gold or any silver. And leaving all I have now is something that I could bear. No? So for me, it's like, you know, being a missionary, you know, was an experience of really making God, no, as my treasure. No? So, nung bata pa ako, marami akong ambition sa buhay. No? Gusto kong magkaroon ng asawa, gusto kong yumaman, no? Malaking bahay, no? So all these things, no? But I realized, no, that really having God, no, is the only richness that could really fulfill my life. So yeah.
So nabanggit niyo po na simula high school pa lang kayo kinakanta niyo na po yun.
Yes.
So paano ba or paano po ba kayo lumaki or sino ba si Sister Grace nung bata pa siya?
Oo. So, I am from Cavite, Silang Cavite. I am the youngest of 8. So, yung mga brothers and sisters ko are really malalaki na, no? Marami na akong mga pamangkin. So, when I was young, I became very involved in the church sa choir, no? Dun sa aming parokya. Tapos, I became also member of the Kiro movement. I don't know na rinig nyo na yung Kiro movement before, no? So, I became also very involved there, became a leader, no? So, I grew up in a very Catholic family. Yung mga kapatid ko, no, they are very religious. Even I could say, no, that when I was younger, mas religious pa sila kaysa sa akin. Kasi kapag nagpupunta sila sa church, so sumasama lang ako. Tapos yung nanay ko, kasi ako pabuntag talaga ng nanay ko, na si Sayon Dayagues. No? So, she will bring me, no, to different groups and mag-pray. No? So, yun. So, I could say, no, that I was very close to God in that sense. Tapos, nung high school din ako, no, I volunteered as a catechist. So, we were going to different schools, public schools. And then, nung college na ako, no, I studied in Educationist College. I studied IT, so computer technology. No? And it was there that actually I met the community. Nung una, no, so it's more like an organization na I am coordinator. No? So, I was just coordinating, no, with missionaries kasi sila yung campus ministers sa school ko. So, and then subsequently, I got to know them a little bit more. So, I would say na yung aking journey, my teenage years hanggang sa college, no, has been really a journey of faith. Now, of course, hindi ko naman masasabi na I was very holy at that time. No? Marami din akong kalokohan. You know, no? I have my barkadas, no, and all that. But, yeah, I think that was more or less my background.
So, paano nyo naman po ma-feel na parang may bukasyon kayo back then?
Nung high school ako, I studied in a convent school with IJ sisters. Nung time na yun, may mga sisters pa dun sa IJA, sa Silang. Tapos, in a way, yung life nila very attractive, no? But, I wouldn't say na na-feel ko na yung vocation then. Nung nag-college ako, no, I think that was the beginning when I met the community actually, the community. They had an activity sa school namin, tapos they were with young people, no? So, usually, no, we are very, Verbum Day, no, with young people, no, we're very joyful, and then with the guitar, that's my, you know, yun yung nakapag-hook din sa akin, no? So, yun yung, kumbaga simula ng journey ko, no, I wouldn't say na yung vocation ko is just one click, no, I think it was a gradual experience of knowing God, no, little by little, no. Tapos, I remember yung isang recollection namin, no, that we were given a short letter from Jesus. It was letter of Jesus, not God the Father, no. But that time, no, it was very impactful for me kasi I experienced Jesus as my friend, no, kasi nung time na yun, ako yung nauso yung time na yun, no, magsusulat ng mga quotations, so meron ako mga notebook na puno ng quotation about friendship, no, kasi yun yung what I really treasure nung time na yun. But when I discovered Jesus na as my friend, na sinasabi niya dun sa letter na, you are my friend, no, it's like, who else can you ask for, no, who can compare, no, with me, no, with this friendship. So, yun, so kumbaga yun yung simula, no, of knowing Jesus more. Tapos subsequently, no, kapag nag-attend ako ng mga activities sa community, I felt very happy, no, very joyful, no, and then very attracted also the way the missionaries live. Very simple, no? Kasi I also like to be simple, no? At that time. So yun, so little by little parang sabi ko, parang nandun yung attraction, no? Hindi ko pa siguro naiintindihan ng time na yun that God was calling me, pero merong attraction, no? to this life. Tapos nung time na nag-retreat ako sa kanila, no? That a little bit more deeper experience, no? Kumbaga, medyo kinakabahan ako. Sabi ko, bakit ganito yung feeling, no? As if God is like asking me something, no? So, hindi ko pa maintindihan. I was 16 back then. I was very young. So, I started to, have my own prayer life. No? I started to read the Bible, no? I started to know God more. And merong time na takot na takot ako, no? So, kasi sabi ko nga sa inyo, marami akong mission sa buhay. No? Sabi ko, kung magiging missionary ako, kung magiging madre ako, sabi ko, I have to leave all these things. No? So, I was very scared. Tapos literally, nagtago ako sa mga missionaries. No? So, when I was in college, no? Kapag nakita ko na yung mga missionaries na nagpupunta doon, saan magtatago na talaga. Kasi since I was the coordinator, no? So they were looking for me. So, sabihin ko lang sa mga class ko, sabihin wala ako. Kasi I was really like hiding from God, no, at that moment. Kasi I was really very scared. So yun yung first, kumbaga, step ng journey ko. So, then subsequently, tuloy ko ba? So, subsequently, no, ayun, nag-attend ako ng maraming recollections, no, sa community kasi nga ako din nagdadala ng mga classmates ko. So may mga moments na ako lang minsan nang nag-a-attend, no, nai-enjoy ako ng mga kasama ko, no. So but I was very happy, no, to be the community. And then there came a time na yung Easter encounter, I think that was really the, I would say, na the highlight, no, of my vocation. Kasi I was really very restless already, no? Kahit natakot ako, I was really, asking God what He really wanted from me. So the thing is, before nung Easter encounter pala, sabi ko sa Diyos, kasi hindi pa ako marunong mag-discern nun eh. So I was 17 years old. So sabi ko sa Kanya, bigyan mo na ako ng signs, no? So kung married life, no? Sana naman may magbigay sa akin ng white rose. So white rose, kasi may hirap, di ba? Makita ng white rose. So maghahanap ka rin lang ng sign, yun ang mahirap, di ba? Tapos yung pangalawa, sabi ko, kung gusto mo ako maging missionary, at least naman, invite ako ng mga missionaries. No? So, kasi hindi nila alam na nag-discern ako. I didn't say anything to them. So, yun. Nung Holy Saturday, that was in 1995, I was praying after the talk ng Call to Love, and then they gave us prayer sheets, and then nandun yung passage ng Luke 5, no, yung call of Peter, no, when Peter was on a boat and then Jesus said, go further, no, and then throw your nets to catch, no, and then later on Jesus told Peter, come and follow me. So right after nung passage may mga questions usually, diba? So ang question na nakalagay na tatandaan ko pa, what is God's invitation to you? What is Jesus' invitation to you? And it was so clear to me when I was praying at that time that God was inviting me, come and follow me. Come and follow me, leave behind everything, no? And I was like, I was so happy. No? I remember I was sitting in front of the tabernacle with another person. And natatandaan ko sa Tagaytay pa yun, no? So yung setting nasa imagination ko pa. I was so happy and I just cried and I was telling God, I will follow you against all odds. alam ko na hindi ako, papayagan ng parents ko. Alam ko na mahirap, no? But I will follow you. And then sabi ko, hindi ko na kailangan ng invitations ng mga missionaries kasi you're the one inviting me na. No? So that's the greatest sign, no? And then the invitation comes from you. So sabi ko, this vocation is really coming from God. It's not me who chose him, but it's God who chose me. So, yun nga. So I was really very, very happy, no? At that time. And then during also that Easter encounter, I'm not so sure if it's before or after nung prayer ko na yun, but I was in group sharing, no? And then I remember asking the facilitator who was back then a missionary, no? And then sabi ko sa kanya, how to choose between two goods. No? So ibig sabihin, sa mind ko, hindi ko sinabi, but in my mind, how to choose between married life and being religious. So hindi ko yung sinabi kasi nahihiya ako. Hindi naman to tell everyone that I am discerning. So sabi niya sa akin, you choose what is best. Choose what is best. And then, nung moment na yun, I really understood that God was telling me, choose me. I am the best. I am the best. So yun. So all my prayers, kumbaga naging mas clear na this is what God is asking of me. And hindi pa yung natatapos doon, no? Kasi after a few weeks or few months, dumating yung white rose. So yung second sign, no? Second sign na hiningi ko sa Diyos. So kung gusto mo kami maging married life, then you give me a sign. No? So actually it was my ex-boyfriend, no, who came back to me and who wanted to come back to me, no, and then giving me that white rose. And then went to my house, no, and then I was telling him, may nauna na sa'yo. And then I said, no, I really didn't want to go back to him, of course, no. So for me that was very, very clear, no, that God was, was asking me to be His, no, and nobody else. So yun, really, I was so happy, no, that was the choice that I had made. Tapos, yung time that I had already to go to the missionary's house was very challenging. Kasi of course, I have to tell my parents, diba? So, alam ng parents ko, o at least my mother, na napupunta ako sa missionaries, ganyan. So, pero hindi niya alam na nagde-discern ako. So, nung day na dapat aalis na ako, sinabi ko sa kanya, no, na I will enter as missionary. The thing is, ano ka lang nun, graduate ko lang. No? I had a two-year course, computer technology. So, pag-graduate ko lang noong 1995. So, that was May 10, 1995, so 30 years ago. And then sabi ko sa nanay ko, ayun, mag-missionary na ako. Sabi ko, alis na ako ngayon. Meron ako maliit na rin. Tapos, of course, very shocking yung sa parents ko, sa mother ko. No? Kasi doon ko lang nasabi sa kanya. Tapos, alis na ako. Tapos yun, marami siyang sinabi sa akin, no? Pinag-aaral kita. Tapos, binrainwash ka lang ng mga missionaries. Sabi niya, magtrabaho ka muna. Dahil, bata ka pa kasi I just turned 18 at that time. My birthday is March 1. No, so yun. So maraming sinabi ng nanay ko, and then I try to answer my mother, kaya lang yung mother ko, no? Very strict yun eh. So nandun ako umiyak, no? So I didn't eat lunch, hindi ako nag-lunch. Hindi ako nag-dinner, no? Nandun lang ako sa kwarto, nag-iiyak ako, tapos kinusap ko ng mga kapatid ko, yung tatay ko, tahimik lang. So, nung day na yun, actually, sorry, that was May 9, no? So, that was May 9. So, hindi ako nakaalis actually. Tapos the following day, no, I had to go to my school para kunin yung mga documents ko, kasi diba, I just graduated. So, nagpunta ko dun sa school. Tapos, I talked to my professor na was very close to me. No? He was an ex-seminarian. Tapos sinabi ko sa kanya yung naging experience ko, no? The past few days. Tapos yung hindi ako pinihala ng nanay ko. Tapos he was telling to me, this is your life. No? This is your decision. This is your happiness. So, it's up to you. It's up to you. So, marami ko siyang sinabi, pero yung words na yan ang hindi ko makakalimutan. No? And those words also gave me like courage, no, to decide yung buhay ko, kung ano yung gusto ko sa buhay ko. No? So from the school, no, I went straight to the missionary's house sa Tagaytay. Hindi na ako umuwi. So yun yung sinasabi ko, no, nag-elope ako kung nagtanan, no, nagtanan. So hindi na ako umuwi sa bahay namin. So pumunta na ako dun sa bahay ng missionaries with my 2 friends. Sabi ko, samahan niyo ako, we're going to the missionaries house. No? So, nung nakita na ako ng mga missionaries, of course, they were very happy to see me. Pero of course, no, kailangan nilang puntahan yung parents ko. So, 2 missionaries yung napunta dun sa bahay namin, and they talked to my parents, to my family. Tapos, they went there for a few hours, tapos bumalik sila, dala na yung maleta ko. So yun, kumbaga, yun yung second journey ko, no, in my missionary life. And then subsequently, of course, they visited me kasi mga 20 minutes lang yan far away from the missionary's house, yung bahay namin. After 1 week, they visited me. So, ako yung nag-open ng door ng missionaries. Oh, I'm starting crying. You know, so it was challenging, no? Because I mean, I saw the suffering of my parents, but at the same time, no, I was very joyful of my decisions. No, that finally I could decide for myself. Kasi since ako nga yung bunso, no? Every time my family decides for me, no? But or decided for me, but yun nga, I guess God had given me the strength, no, to follow Him, even though alam ko na hindi ako papayagan, no? Or wala akong support ng family.
So after entering po dun sa pagiging missionary, ano naman po yung mga experience yung adjustment or challenges nung pagkapasok niyo po?
So, nung time na yun, so, kasi nung wala pang mga di ba? Wala pang mga internet. May internet pero hindi siya global, kumbaga. Yung phone is also very difficult. So, one of the things, of course, is the challenge is I also miss my family, of course, no? And then yung adjustment that I live with people that I hardly knew, no? Yung adjustment ng gigising na maaga. I couldn't anymore sleep as much as I want, no, kumbaga, or tutulog na maaga na, because we have certain schedule as well, no? So of course sa umpisa yun yung mga adjustment na kailangan ko. And of course hindi siya madali, no, but kumbaga nasanay din ako, no? So marami, so living with people, no, that as I said, no, hindi ko pa kilala, so adjustment din, no. Naalala ko din isang adjustment ko, no, speaking English, no, kasi of course dito sa Luzon, Tagalog lang, no. So tinetrain kami to speak in English, no. It's like mahirap, no. Ngayon medyo baliktad na ako, nahirapan ako no, kasi I've been away the Philippines for many years, no. Pero yun nga, so those were the initial challenges.
So nabanggit niyo po na matagal po kayo dun sa ibang bansa. So ano po bang mga bansa or ano po ba yung mga naging mission niyo dun sa ibang bansa?
So, first I stayed here muna sa Philippines for 6 years. So, after ng formation course ko for 2 years in Tagaytay, I was sent to Cebu for 3 years. So, it was very meaningful mission doon sa Cebu, no? After ng formation ko. I would say that it's one of the most unforgettable experience that I had, no, in mission kasi ayun nga, you know, being a new missionary and then having different experiences, no, with the people. Tapos dun yung time na nag-grow, no, yung community sa Cebu. So and then after Cebu, I was sent to Singapore. That was in year 2001, around there, where I started studying my philosophy and theology. So I studied for 7 years sa seminary, and after that, no, I continued yung apostolate. So I was all in all 12 years in Singapore. After my 12 years in Singapore, I was sent to Colombia in South America for 3 years, and then after that, I was sent to Brisbane in Australia for 2 years, and then I came back here in the Philippines in 2018.
Tapos hanggang ngayon po.
Yes, hanggang ngayon.
So what is the most remarkable experience or event na nangyari po sa inyo during your missionary life?
Marami. I mean, because since I am already 30 years in the community, so there are many memorable experiences, no, na I would say I would really treasure na in my missionary life. Unang-una yung sinabi sa inyo, yung experience ko sa Cebu. And of course, my experience in Australia, as well. And yung sa Singapore, well, all the countries I've been, no? But yung majority of it was in Singapore, no? Kasi I was there longer, 12 years. So, yung experience ko doon was very rich kasi is a very enriching experience being with different, people. Kasi multiracial, di ba, yung Singapore, tapos different religions. So, yung apostolate namin, hindi lang within the Catholics, no, but it's also with other religions. No? So, I enjoyed because I could see how people are very hungry, no, for God. No? Especially yung mga newly baptized Catholics or yung mga catechumens preparing for their baptism. I had a chance to accompany a few of them doon sa kanilang tinatawag na RCIA. So it's a journey that they had to take before getting baptized. So, yun nga, meanwhile I was doing my theology, I was also being challenged on how to put into practice what I know and what I experience, no? Making these people as well have a deeper knowledge of God. No? So, yun yung actually I would really treasure a lot in my experience as well, no? sa Singapore. Yun doon naman sa Colombia and Australia is really an experience of being in a totally different continent, no? Totally different experience being with different people. It was also very enriching. Marami pang memorable moments, but yun yung in general what I can say.
So going back here po sa Philippines, ano naman pong na-experience niyo?
So I came back here in the Philippines. In 2018 I had a sabbatical, no, for 1 year. It's more like really a rest and then how to also deepen more, no, my relationship with God, no, and to look back on my experiences. And then after that, I was more really involved, I would say, in the government as a branch responsible of the female branch here in the Philippines. So I was elected in 2019 and then re-elected after 3 years. And actually, ngayong July will be my finishing of my term. So it has been already 6 years being there, being service to the community. And I would say that is fulfilling and at the same time challenging, because of course, especially in the beginning, where we had the pandemic, people say, oh, but you're just only in your house, but it's not just being in the house, but it's to be able to also relate to the different realities of the communities, and to be able to respond to the needs of others. So for me, it became very challenging. Kasi alam niyo naman nangyari sa pandemic, and then seeing family members dying or getting sick was really not easy. Also, one of the challenges as well is how we communicate to the community, and of course to the people of our apostolate, to our relatives, and to the people around. So that was really quite challenging, especially for me. Yeah, but also there, as I would say, marami ding moments of joys, of being fulfilled with mission.
So, last na lang po. Since mga kabataan po yung nakikinig sa atin ngayon, ano po yung message niyo for the youth today?
So, alam ko na, maraming challenges, so maraming, I would say, temptations sa mundo ngayon. Nandiyan ang internet, nandiyan ang media, and even barkada. So, I think it's importante na we also try to be very disciplined in our spiritual life. Kasi yun yung magbibigay sa atin ng katatagan, in moments of challenges sa ating buhay. Yun yung magbibigay sa atin ng courage to face whatever is in the future. Kasi since bata pa kayo, maraming mga challenges na darating sa buhay mo, and not only in your family but also in your studies, sa inyong mga barkada, sa future nyo. Meron nga sabi, parang mahirap nang mag-dream ngayon, kasi knowing yung reality ng aking family, mahirap kami. So parang yung to dream is not anymore, a reality. But I would say that don't stop dreaming. Kaya na nakikita nyo na maraming balakid sa buhay nyo. Kasi with God, everything is possible. And kung meron kayong will, kung meron kayong desire, everything will be possible.
Thank you po, Sister Grace. Palakpakan naman natin. Exciting part ng ating segment, yung question and answer portion. So, sino yung gusto munang magtanong?
Okay. So, si Grace is one of the missionaries, first missionaries that I met in Cebu. Kasi yung kita, the missionaries that I met first is the missionary. Then I attended yung prayer, yung daily prayer. I would like to ask only that one, kasi it was, when I was from different communities, is different din yung kanila hindi daily. Because as far as I remember, Cebu that time has been a unique one because you have every day from Monday except Saturday until Sunday So it's like 6 days a week. What was behind it? I mean, what was the...
I don't know if I would remember all all what we have lived there, no, but I arrived in the community when the community was only 5 years, I think, foundation there sa Cebu. So ang naalala ko, no, is I think we were really on fire that time, no? We were very young, except yung isang missionary that maybe she was in her 40s, no? So majority of us, we were in our 20s. I arrived in Cebu, I was 20. So we had lots of energy, you know. We had lots of energy, you know. So I think really, partly, you know, is really, I think we had lots of experiences, you know, to share, you know, to them. And I think what really also encourages a lot was really the response of the people, you know, who were coming every day. No, kasi kung walang tao, so we cannot, you know, continue yung prayer, no. But kumbaga, as time goes by, we saw really na may mga not disciples only, but may mga tao na napupunta, mga students, mga working. So it really gave us a lot of kumbaga encouragement, no, to continue doing that, no. And thanks to that, no, maraming naging disciples, no, missionaries even, no. Katulad mo. So, you know, and I was very happy, no, very happy, no, and it bore fruit, no, yung ganong set up, no. It was challenging, no, but it was very fulfilling.
Thank you.
Sister, gusto po naming malaman kung gaano po kayo kamapagmahal. Nakailang boyfriend po ba kayo bago kayo nag-missionary?
Only one, and we were only like 4 months. So actually, he was my best friend, one of my best friends. So we were in the same Christian group, and we were very close. No? So, but I think it's more than the feeling part is because we were very close. So, and then it was just a very short time. Sorry to disappoint. Ano kaya mani?
May best friend din daw kasi siya. May best friend din daw po kasi si Man.
Wow!
Trish, parang may tanong daw si Trish.
Yung sa akin po, sabi niyo po kasi is 12 years kayo sa Singapore, and then meron pa po kayong 2 country na napuntahan na ibang bansa. So, ask ko lang po sana kung ano po yung pinaka-biggest challenge po para sa inyo habang nandun po kayo sa ibang bansa?
Okay. Depende ko saan, no? So, but yung what is common maybe is yung culture, enculturation. No? So, of course, iba-iba yung culture, no? From my culture. So, I think yung challenge is how to be able to understand the people, no? How to be able to understand the way they think, the way they do things, no, and to be able to adjust. So, and the second part, no, was the language. So this was more in Colombia, even though I could understand a little bit Spanish at that time, pero yung speaking was a bit difficult. So, yung challenge ko doon kasi doon sa community ko walang ibang kasalita ng English. So everybody was only speaking Spanish. So that was really not easy, no? Kung gusto ko na makipag-away, hindi makipag-away, no? Kapag-alabas. You know? So, joke lang yan. kapag nagre-revision kami, right? So minsan, hindi ko ma-express yung sarili ko. So I need to have a computer in front of me tapos translate ko. So of course mahirap yun, no? Kasi hindi mo talaga kumbaga na-express kung ano yung nasa loob mo. So that was one of the challenges that I faced as well.
Can I have a follow-up question? Because Singapore, I don't know how that in your time when you were there, so as far as I know, 6% Christian, right? And, so we're talking about the rest is 94% are not Christians. How do you live? I mean, being minority in, for example, in Singapore, how do you live your faith? I mean, do you find it difficult? Do you find it also like opportunity to evangelize? Or how do you see the culture?
Yes. So one of the challenges in Singapore is that we cannot evangelize as what we do here, no? Because, you know, for example, you go, here we go out and you can just do whatever activity you want. But in Singapore, you need to ask permission to the government. You know, you cannot just give flyers, you know, or pamphlets to anyone, you know, in the street or even in the university where we were working. So that was a challenge, no? Kasi Singapore is not a Catholic country, so. But I would say that we were not also prevented to leave our mission, because we have many avenues to practice, you know, preaching, prayer. So sa bahay namin, no, we also have different groups of students from the universities, of working people, tapos mga medic photos. So really most of our activities are in our house. Tapos then when we were already a little bit known in the church, so marami nang nag-aasamin naman magbigay ng retreats, recollections, and then subsequently, you know, so we were more free, no, to also live our mission. Pero still within the Catholic Church. Tapos, ang maganda pa rin yun, no, we try, you know, to do different activities so as to reach out to non-Catholics as well. So, nagsimula noong 2001, I think, or 2002, yung mission trip. No? So, we had many mission trips almost every year. Napupunta kami dito sa Philippines. So, every year we come here. And there were moments also, we went to China, we went to another country na hindi ko na maalala kung saan ngayon. And those were really opportunities to reach out to non-Catholics. No, so may mga Catholics na nag-join and some of them even got baptized. So yun, it was a beautiful experience. Kahit na minority yung Catholics, we had still opportunity, no, to reach out, no, to other people. So, yeah.
I remember now, you know, when we had organized the Asian encounter in 2006. We went there. 60 Filipinos went there. And we were coming there with the idea that we would evangelize Singapore people. But in the end, the fruit in us is that we are evangelized because we have not been, I mean, because we are used to here in Philippines, we are 90, we were the majority of Christian. Then there, face 6%, and then they are how they were fighting for their faith, how they live their faith, how their faith is so alive. Was really, really for us. It was for us. Not like we are more evangelized than we evangelize them in a sense. How they live their faith as minority or.
sige, ako na lang ulit din. Batuhan na lang tayo, kuya ko. So this is more sister on sa mga, for example, mga kabataang who have grown weary in their following, no? You mentioned you're already many years as a missionary, no? Sister Grace, ano po ba yung secret in falling in love and staying in love with Jesus?
I would say prayer. No, I think that's the only way that we can really fall in love and stay in love, with Jesus. No? And actually, really, from the very beginning of my missionary life, that was something that I really take care of. No? I became a missionary first and foremost because I fell in love with God. No? Siguro second na yung mission. No? Sabi ko nga, God has seduced me and made me to fall in love with Him first. Then second yung mission. So, how to nourish that love is through our prayer life. No? Kasi we need that time of being with God alone. No? That He's the one who fulfills yung need natin, need of appreciation, need of love from people, yung acceptance. No? Kasi the people around us may give us those things, no? The love that we need, acceptance that we need, but they will never fulfill everything in us. No? So, as long as we are really faithful in our prayer and we seek God alone and we really, not just ask God for things, no, or not just to ask God, makapasa sana ako, no. So, but is to ask God, help me fall in love with you, help me, feel my heart, yun yung what can really, make us to grow, in our love also.
So last one question. So habol na kayo.
Ay, last na?
So mukhang na po, okay na po sila sa lahat ng mga narinig niya na sa inyo. So Sister Grace, pwede po namin kaya invite para mag-give ng closing prayer.
Sure. At the front of the Son, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Jesus, for being the reason of our life. Thank you for the love that you have shown us, this love that can fulfill our hearts. Help us, Lord, so that we can continue following you, to continue to discover the fullness of life in you, because you are the one who could really fill our hearts and make us happy. I pray for all of us here so that we can persevere in our following, that we can be faithful to you and to the mission that you have given us. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit.
As it was in the beginning, is now,